One, two, three, check. Microphone check. Let me check all areas, see where we're at. And we look good. How are we over here with the mic on YouTube, on the video portion? Yeah, my mic's working. And Anchor, you're already off and recording. So good, good, good. This is D-Boy from West Coast Uncensored. D-Boy is definitely is Daniel Abril. Not trying to hide who I am, just kind of had a brand. Hasn't always made changes, and those who have looked at it know. See, let's just kind of move forward with that. I want to thank everybody for being part of West Coast Uncensored, and anybody who's listening is getting anything out of this, man. I thank you from the bottom of my heart. Let's connect. Let's work through differences and platforms and even levels. If somebody can help you climb, or somebody you can help somebody else climb, you would help them. You would put a ladder out for them so they can get some safety out of it, so they can climb up to another area, another place of refuge, another experience out of certain situations and certain places that they're in. And has on West Coast Uncensored, D-Boy, I've dropped some videos lately. I really like you know, there's just been some changes with me. Um, I mean, for 20 something years of doing speaking, public speaking, teaching, and a platform that I had many, many times, I would never really listen to what I would say. And it wasn't that I felt weird, something I didn't want to listen to what I had to say, but just even recently, if somebody changes, as I've really dug deep in myself, I've taken on things that I never experienced because another level opened up that I had never did, yeah, even at my age. Closing the door on yourself is a mindset, not necessarily age. Um, Even though we see a lot of people do that as they get older, they kind of get closed minded. It's just a fact. If you can keep your mindset and you can keep your growth going through whatever age you are, physically, mentally, and you can do that and you're looking to grow and always improve on yourself and don't get stuck in a certain resonance of a certain vibration, and you can grow. So what I noticed that when I put stuff that some people, kind of visibly mentioned, and I know and some it didn't, that certain areas that we get stuck at and certain areas we feel we have a hard time pushing through and maybe going to that next level, and it takes self-valuation. And those who can do a self-valuation and do a diagnostic check on themselves because they know their sources and they know their tools, that is just fabulous. You can help somebody else with yours, and you can get better with yours, because we become better technicians than we were yesterday, better at doing the things. We're not just practicing anymore, but we're doing the thing live and in color, and helping ourselves grow. So really what I wanted to bring out was, through that, I heard people say they were stuck, and also they were in certain things that they could not break to go with something they really had some intention to do, whether it's business, whether it's even just you got yourself to where you want to push your business and working towards something that you want to get off the ground. It's kind of like a rocket. If you want to get something off the ground, you have to have a lot of energy. Um, right? If you want to push a rocket into another and get it in orbit, you got to break that first stratosphere, and it takes a lot of power to break that first stratosphere. That means those rockets, boosters, that fire, that ignition is got to be good enough to exceed that first layer that it has to go through, which will try to pull you back down and plunge you down. And if you know that, and if you look at it that way, you can start doing some looking at what would it take to break that cycle that I feel like I can't break something. What one would be, that would be good. Two would be the second people I think we deal with and we are dealing with are them that kind of know, but that don't know where to begin. Or there's some that would like, but really don't know how to begin. So, and that's tough. I mean, it's like, where do I go? Where's my direction? Like I said before, for me, I used to look at the fact that I when I came in and had breaking this great event for me, I didn't have too many mentors from where I left to the next level to say, hey, come here, let's have a solid and talk about this because you're going the right direction, but I definitely can help you where you're going through experience. And I've learned through experience is very powerful, and the balance is so important. There's a time for everything. There's a time you must be a rebel. There's a time you got to follow orders because there is an order. It kind of even goes with the days of the week. Friday, which is Venus, which is extremely what Venus gives off is love, and let's have the ball, and let's have excitement, and let's parade and do this. And then the very next day, you have a day called Saturn, which is really linked to order, and order, definitely an order and a foundation of why this order must be a certain way and how this works by order. So you have Saturn who gives you the huge party and whole lot of love, and but may have flowers growing in their hair and everywhere. And here's Saturn saying, okay, these flowers are okay, but you got to keep them in order because these flowers have to allow other plants to breathe. Say, get the flowers are smothering my tomatoes. So that's the balance, and that's the cosmos. That's why it's a universe. And this isn't given for some. I'm just going to be honest. This isn't given for some aspect of anybody to tell you how to do this. And I'm going to share why. Because you are the best answer to yourself. Sometimes it's just the importance to know how to unlock yourself to get to that importance of yourself. What I mean by that is you have the key, you have the code, you know. Think about it. If you have to remember something, means you already knew, because remembers repeating something that you already either practiced, known, or experienced. It's within you. And sometimes knowing these things and connecting with mentors, because I think that good mentorship is important, because notice the word mentor. It is a connection with somebody, not to lord over you and have control and power and lead you to supply them, but a good mentorship in this day, not by the things we've seen in the past. But this day is not to glean things from people and not to steal their money and not to take their money. And then, you're driving a nice, big, fancy, with a TV antenna in the back car. No, 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 no. But the people, are struggling to even pay and take care of their kids and put food on the table or keep the electric bill on. That stuff is done. And a lot of you here are done with that. And it's not just done. You know why you're done, because the truth has got through you this areas. So what I want to do is really see that you need to be empowered, because everything to do with knowing who you are going through you is you know you. And we lead you through you. There is mechanic work that you need to do, but I am going to tell you how to do you the best thing. And once you get turned on and start knowing aspects of yourself, that's why it's powerful to know everything about yourself. It's your job to do the work that you need to do to help yourself through the experience. See, there's a lot of things. It's like if I gave you a map and I said, here's the map, and the map tells you everything about your journey. And you're like, okay, man, okay, I see what I got to do. I see the terrain, I see the water, I see the train, I see the hills. The aspect of it, you see everything. It's down. The map is clear. You know which road you got to go. You know how it's going to be when you go through them. But the journey is the experience of the terrain, not just that you know how to get there. It's one thing to know. It's one thing to know what the map says of the directions, but it's another thing to experience the journey of going through that terrain and everything about that terrain through the experience, which is yourself, through your consciousness, through your growth and your experience, that's going to boost you to have the experience that you can mentor somebody else, and you're going to drive them. They got to get the map and they have to go through the experience, because the uniqueness activates, and the uniqueness will be the difference of what you are compared to the difference of me. All our fingerprints are to me, is a type of our uniqueness, because they can find you through your prints, even facial recognition these days, right? So this is a boost in everything for you to do. I'm just going to share a few things. I'm going to kind of cover half of it today, may do the other half later, But actually, I just got an email that, and I'm going to send this out in a little bit when I'm done, that they are going to have the inner, what is it called? Interology that we've been doing. Inner the group, the free thing going on. It's going to be tonight in a couple hours, like just a little less than a couple hours. So I'm 8 o'clock. It looks like 8 o'clock West Coast time, right? 11 o'clock East Coast people, and then eight, so 4 in the morning for my UK friends. A little early, but if you're up, and then well, you West Coast people, be there. I know things get in the way. Help if you need help with the children, you need help with somebody. Turn off the movie. Help yourself. Turn off the TV. Help yourself. Maybe your spouse or your somebody will help you if you got some young ones, but do the work to help you and get on that. It's good connection. When you connect with everyone, there's something about when powers come together. It's one thing to have your power separate, but when people come on to a collectiveness, it's like a bunch of twigs. By themselves, they can be snapped. But when you bind them up and wrap them, they can be as strong as a tree. Hear what I'm saying? That because the collectiveness will push. Everything that's done by collective creates new realities for the everybody. We already see the matrix how it's been connected for us, and it really hasn't worked for us. To be honest, it's not about us for us. It doesn't serve us. It actually gleans from us. So it's time that we bind together because in our consciousness is where the change is. To fight things with the same resonance that it was brought in just doesn't work because that will what comes around that loop will go around that loop again. I'm serious. We need to reorganize our thinking and realize the power we have. So I'm going to just share some things. I'm not trying to keep you all night because I can be long-winded. I have to, I can go 50, 60 minutes. Anchor doesn't let me do it, but YouTube would. So I'm going to start a little bit with, and I'm going to call this, it's called the Ladder of Lights, Climbing the Ladder of Lights and Balancing the Diversity in Unity. Again, climbing the ladder of lights and balancing diversity, which you want to bring forth unity, but balancing your diversity. And your diversity, as we look outside ourselves, we see the diversity on people's different cultures, different skin colors, different foods. We saw all these diversity, and then the outside interference has always brought us subject to dividing those things and judging those things. But it is actually in you. And I'm going to show you how you can do this because it's aspect of yourself. Um, think about this and look at this. Everybody heard of a word called chakras, and chakras are actually the inner system of energy that's with it. It goes into Hinduism or it goes into ancient India, and what it is the chakras represent energy systems. I actually looked it up in a medical book, and it says the same thing it does when you would look in there, that it's energy systems, meaning that the seven energy systems that it's talking about that are within us, from the root chakra and up to through the crown chakra. And I'm gonna get into the four lower tonight, and I'll do a video to follow up with this with the three higher. But why I'm gonna do this is sometimes that thus in the community, and I've been guilty of it in the past. I love to celebrate, and even in my etiology and some of my keywords in my etiology, my life paths, it says root chakra. I know that in me, the root chakra, with some of the things that I've been able to know and manifest, and gifts that I've been given, that I've had and manifested, and especially my knowledge and spirit of, in creating revelation knowledge and just that knowing that Gnostic thing, that knower turned on, definitely operates in that higher chakra. But I know that on the balancing end of the other side, there's another side is of that lower chakra that may not be as balanced because of different aspects of what you went through and what they represent, what they do in your makeup of your body. Each one does have a makeup of um, of what it supports you as being a full, balanced energy, because the chakras actually are like discs and wheels. In the Bible, they talked about the wheel within the wheel. That's what it is. You're the wheel, and within you is wheels, seven wheels. Some say there's even going to, or there's actually way more. But in the balance of this, from the crown to the root, and we're going to really look at that and see if this could help you kind of see what blocks you. because a lot of it does block you. I've seen it block me before, where I can, see things, and then like I was talking about on that last video, knowledge. Got to jump off the ledge. You are the technician. Nobody's going to come save you and do anything of this work for you because it was given to you to do. It's your gift. And given to you to do is one thing. It's a responsibility that you have to take. It just doesn't happen, and there's not going to be some sky in the pie that's going to come and say, "Here, how's you work on you this? I'm going to do it for you." Plang, ching, 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 pow. If it did happen that way, guess what? You would not be a master of yourself. You wouldn't learn anything. You wouldn't even have the experience that was done for you. But when you empower yourself, you learn to do this, and it'd be like the difference is that you can take your car and you can pay money to have a technician work on your car. But remember, that's outside of you. This it can be done in instances of different kinds of healings and different kinds of energy healings, and those are fine and they're good, and I don't discourage anybody from going to Reiki healings or anything that would do to the energy to help you maybe fix this or make adjustments. But I'm going to tell you what the most empowering thing for a lot of people, and I'm going to switch this to that, people who can fix their own things have a one up and save a lot of time and energy when they can do the work themselves and not have to take it somewhere, time and money, by paying somebody to do it and assist them. It is somebody who can do the work within themselves. They call it a handyman, right? I'm going to say handy person now because there's women who can do that. There's women who can do it better than men. And I'm not sorry, sad to say that I have not always been Mr. Handyman. But in aspects of helping myself with this, I definitely know that the technician's there and doing some things on this work. So I'm going to start with in also, because the mindset, we want to get in the crown chakra, we want to get in the third eye, and we want it to explode, that lotus exploding as we go into nirvana and we go into higher places in our consciousness, and we activate the Christ mind, or we activate the Krishna mind. Christ and Krishna are the same thing, and we up and realize it's really crystal. It's the crystalline, the crystalline, and all that stuff. And it's the Buddha would call it going into nirvana, and having that experience of going to nirvana. But any tree that's built high that can support the birds, and on symbiology, birds being in high trees represents higher consciousness. But if you look at the tree or the plant, the best and most strongest trees and plants that grow the best have the strongest roots. And we're going to start with that. Let's check this out. The root chakra, you know what it supports? It is a wheel and disc, all of them are. It goes with that. I've had injuries to my neck. I used to work in a job that I used to do a lot of physical work in mental health. I used to do takedowns and and just be honest, in inner work of in an inpatient unit. And if things got out of hand, we have to take down. I think it's affected me because I did many takedowns when in my younger days. That I ended up with herniated discs, which I can't say it is, but it could be connected to that. So I'm just telling you that. And that's why even today's thing was really good. The guy's going to hit me up and we're going to do some work on on that, because I'm trying to be a technician. I don't know it all, but with the support of others, some are good at some things and some are good at another. Man, that's where we got to find a unity. This is going to help. Watch. Chakras, it supports and associated with earth, and its energy flows in two directions, and its color is red. Why does energy flow in two directions? This is the yin and yang. This is what I keep talking about, balance, flowing in two directions. The positive and negative, not always meaning negative does in this aspect does not mean bad or evil. And a lot of this is just not have judgment on what's good and bad. This is kind of will help you understand your powers when you don't judge. Because what's the scripture say? If you judge, you're judged. And this is because this is how it comes out as a thing, because it's going to come back at you in your judgment. So it's going to support associated with the earth, Mother Earth. Everything grows from the earth. Everything that's given, Mother Earth puts back, doubles it. Seeds come, one tree produces the aspect of so many seeds that you have thousands of trees from one tree. Mother Earth always gives back, always creates, and that's connected to the womb. That's why that portal of mother, the feminine aspect, is always going to give back. And it's the root, and that's why it's a foundation, and we can't overlook it. It's a very important fact that we be rooted in our foundation and There's many things that can throw us off that, but because look at the power of what this can do if it's very solid and that you're really rooted. You're gonna feel two things. It's the fight or flight. This is aspect is in fight or flight. The positive place would be safety and fearlessness. Think about that. So when you're really rooted and those are rooted and that energy's rooting and that disc is spinning, you really have the aspect of safety. You don't feel fearful. You feel safe. You feel solidly safe. You don't feel terror. You don't feel anything like that. You feel safety, right? You feel secure in your safety and fearlessness. So fearlessness, man, you don't have no fear. You'll step up to the plate. You'll do what you need to do, and nothing is going to put fear. And that's where the whole thing of being fearful is one of our biggest enemies because it's connected to the root of who we are. And if it's connected to the root of who we are, it's very important. It's just as important as the crown. Think about it, because the crown doesn't function unless the root. It can, and you can have that, but you're going to have some instability. Notice that instability. Why can't a palm tree take a rushing mighty hurricane, a tsunami, and go? But guess what it does? It bounces back. Very strong. The roots of the palm tree are just powerful tree roots that it can lean, but baby, that baby's gonna eventually balance back and come back in its place. Um, and it's built on the safety and fearlessness. So if your root chakra through trauma, abuse, children, and I'm sorry it happens to a lot of us. All of us have some trauma from our childhood. It doesn't always have to be your parents. It can be your parents. It could be somebody who came in. It could be a babysitter. It could be the children abusing you at school. I mean, we hear all this bullying, but a lot of times what that happens is that causes some kind of abuses and trauma to people, and that's why we have PTSD, and we see it really and prevalent. Of course, we really see it when people come back from the military and war. They have PTSDs. They have these dreams and nightmares. The reason it's called a nightmare is you don't have safety and you're not in the safety aspect's gone, and it's fight or flight because fearlessness and fighting in fear are different. Fearlessness will step up, that you will step up in your power. If you're stepping up because of fight, is because you feel unsafe. And that's the imbalance that we get. So those two chakras are, I mean, that foundation of root chakra is very powerful. I think a lot of us deal with it. I could say, I think I do. I definitely have some of that there that I'm always working on. As much as I can be stable, I see the other side of me. I see the 180. I know that we must see the angles of ourselves, and this is part of seeing who you really are. I just put out a podcast on this happening to me just last week. So know thyself and know that you can get the healing and the healing for that and dealing with that and doing different things like um, yoga, energy healing, um, uh, balancing exercises, taking care, self care for yourself. And man, if you didn't, that's why I was saying get on today. There's a lot of self care in today's thing we had in that retreat. It was really all based on self care of yourself and your body and things you could do that you didn't need anybody else to do to produce the self care. And man, it's perfect. And I learned things today that was powerful. So always the foundation of root is safety and fearlessness. So if your safety is challenged and your fear and you have fear, there's something in that root chakra that's not that disc is not spinning at its optimus prime. All right. Next, we're going to go to the sacral or the sacral chakra. Notice how the word sacral, and we see that word sacral with being something like something just we pay honor, holy, and it's also the sacral. Like, can I just say it? Just like the testes and the bag of testes that male have, how it's connected. It is in that area, and what it does is that area. It's connected to. It governs sex and it governs your emotions. This is heavy to me. How these two aspects are really interconnected. Hear what I'm saying? That these two aspects are very connected, emotional and sexual. how they actually are disguised and actually work together. If they are governed in a balance, they are terrific energies, right? Think about their energies. We have to get, and if we have some of that left of sex being, it's creativity, it's part of nature, it's part of who you are, it's part of your power. It's a powerful union, and so are emotions. So emotions and sex. That's why a lot of times, that especially, you can see it in the feminine aspect in that kind of relationship with somebody, that they get emotionally attached because they're connected. If this is not governed well, and there's some kinds of things that went wrong in these areas, you will have things that will in the sacral area that will cause problems for you. You're in the sexual area. Um, Too much sex. And there's a such thing as, because the sex is supposed to be a balance. I'm just learning more of it to self. I can look at old self and I go, wow. Um, I look at former self, look at past self, and looking that this is really an energy place, and you need to honor it. But a lot of times when it's mismanaged and it goes into this and it's supposed to be sacred. See, sex is sacred. Nobody's going to say that because it's we've been taught it's, oh my God, break the bonds of traditional teaching. It just is. And those that are hearing this, you just got to. Um, and emotions, and you see that the emotional drama of people when they're imbalanced, living on their emotions, living on their sex drive. These drives are used for creations. When your creativity is connected to your sexual drive and unity within those emotions, it's you will not allow that to lead you, but it will tie into being connected to the energies of what you're doing to in your creativity with somebody, or your create, and this even goes even past this, it goes into your creativity of creating your job, creating your business, creating your next move, creating your entrepreneurship, creating your what you want to do, manifesting stuff. It's connected to that. You this balance is really really important to creating that next level that you want to walk in. It's part of what you do. I didn't say it earlier, but the first one we dealt with red is red. This is the ladder of lights, the different colors, the balancing of the different colors is red. This one is connected to orange. See these colors? This is where we in Western thinking, in the Bible, we have Noah going through um, another area of the flood, right? Waters falling for 40 days. These are all types of foreshadows, because there's even a previous story about Noah in about 500 years before. So what you have in this is you got the story of these 40 days. 40 is really representative of growth. And I'll share that too, is that 40 is connected to a new generation that's connected. I'm missing something because I know there's a key something. I just seen that. It just hit me the other day about 40. But anyways, the water continually flowing. And then the seal of hope was the rainbow. That's actually you and this chakra system is your hope, is your seal of approval, is your covenant within yourself. This is really what it's talking about, because you are 75% water. You are your water, electric water beings. I'm going to actually do a video of coming up, because I got it outlined, and I'm going to bring it out about magnetation and electromagnetation, the differences in how they work and how they're connected to you. But anyways, because these chakras are connected, that's why they're spinning like wheels, because there's some magnetation going there, and this is where you got it with this. So it governs your emotions. So if you that's why you see a lot of people will use that outburst. They're always going and doing things sexually, or manifesting and having multiple partners, or doing things. And then we give them these nicknames, male or female. It's the system is justified. It's okay for the male and not the female. That's just how this works, because of the bias. We're balancing those biases, because it's about balance. Because the reality is, feminine and masculine is the two. The root said the two directions, or the two energy flows. It's feminine and masculine. Actually, the aspect of them are both of us, left and right hemisphere. Okay, You got to balance that, and this goes into that. So if you have these things, you gotta really get down and do and figure out those emotions and get those emotional help to balance that out, because they're connected. And you see, and like I said, on the emotional part, you see all the trouble, or what we call people dealing with being drama queens and all this aspect, and and that's really what's going on with that. It's got to be governed. The word govern means control. It's nobody gonna. There's no government outside you can control this. This is yours, baby, and you be the head, and you take and be the technician of it. And this is a great advantage that you have to know this. Your ancestors, and many of them didn't know this. Farther back they did, but this was hidden from them. Your immediate, probably last 2 or 3 generations, they have no clue of this. This is really being opened up to a lot of us. I can look at people I know that are family. They have no clue now, and they're younger than me. Some of us are just coming into this and have this continuum of this, and I'll even get on a continuum one day. Got that ready, getting ready to go. So that red, safety, fearlessness, we're looking at going down. We got to govern our emotions and that sex, because that's what the sacred. But notice the emotions and sex is connected to the sacral. We think sacral, that's sex, but it's also, look at what sacral, you see sacred, like secret or secretions. Those are all tied into this. Same word, same connection in etymology. So number 3, we're going to hit that third one coming up, that ladder's lights from the root. We've gone up a little bit. We hit the sacral. Now we're going to the solar plexus. This is where I really dig in my meditations now, mastering that breathing. Even in my breathing, as going into this, I breathe in my nose, out my mouth. That's good for the upper, but now I'm learning to breathe for my solar plexus, all of them solar plexus. But taking the breath through the mouth and out the mouth is breathing and activating the solar plexus to energize the flow of those lower chakras, the ones we just mentioned. Those 2 that we talked about, this being the third, it breathing through the nose activates the crown and the third eye and the throat. This through the mouth is going downward like the water, feminine aspect, and it's going, and so what's happening is going down, and it's activating these lower. So really, as you're activating both, breathing through the nose, learning to breathe through the nose, then start harmonizing them as a seasonal breathing. What you're doing, you're filling up, you get these spinning, and now these are going, and the uppers are going into the crown and the third eye and getting that to rise and rise. But you got the bottoms ones spinning, so the bottom ones are now supporting the upper ones, and they're working in unison. A lot of division as we divided and said these are the bad parts of us and this is the good parts. No, they both have that. There's a yin and yang on all of them. When you see these big skyscrapers built in this high rise, stories and stories and stories in the air, and you see that, know this one thing with that these have great foundations in them. And I'm going to do even a foundational one about understanding. Hear what I'm saying? Understanding and overstanding, and I'll be doing that too. Just giving you guys food for thought, man. We're gonna bring it. We're gonna bring it. It's about us coming to ourselves, man. It's about us waking up. What a better time to wake up than you see what's going on. How many are tired of the covert operations, covert 19? I'll stop there because I don't want to. I go to Yang when I get on this conversation because I know, but also it doesn't always take me to my best mindset, because my lower, that self of that 180, I don't get too happy about it. I don't like to be schemed on and dogged out when I do that. But this is where I'm using it. Flip the mindset, do the work within you. Don't get out of the hiatus. I'm not saying don't watch outside of you, but if you stay outside of you most of the time, which we've been trained to do, you'll never take care of the garden. You'll never be the one coming home after being outside, the prodigal son that came home and went within. You'll be like the brother who was always available to go in, but was worried about the outside of himself, and jealous, living in the lower mindset. So the lower chakras, the lower parts of you, when doing fine, when you start dealing with them and healing them with them, I mean, we went through a lot. Solar plexus, and it gets with the solar plexus, called the third chakra. It comes at you in a yellow color. So we have red, we have orange, and we have yellow. It governs your personal drives and your self-worth, your self-confidence. your self-esteem. All these things, when they suffer, you suffer your worst because you never can get anything fired off. The key thing is solar plexus, solar, the sun, the soul, solar, the universe, the sun, the plexus. This is where the breathing from that place comes in that creates the fire. If you're suffering from your personal drives, you can't break through the walls and you can't do the things you would like to do. And you find this could be your area of being stuck here because your drive is not there. Your drive doesn't stand. It doesn't last. You try and try and try, and then you give up, or your self-confidence falls to a point that you can't boost it back up. You try, you feel you have self-confidence, and then you start getting discouraged, and you don't have self-confidence, you don't have self-worth, you don't have confidence in yourself. These are all, if you notice that there's a tie-in with all of them. When I could see the tie-in with the solar plexus and the root chakra with flight or flight, fearlessness, safety. When you're confident, you're going to be able to have the self-worth, confidence. A lot of times a lot of times it was done to us by people speaking negative to on us, and negative on people. It happened. And most of the people who did it, if it was your parents or it was adults who were supposed to have custodian rights to raise you, and they did these things to you, a lot of times that's just the way it was, and and it usually 99% of the time it was done to them, and they don't know better. It is. It's just really what it is. That's why it becomes generational shit. Curses. It becomes generational stuff that doesn't serve us, but it's always the stumbling block, even in our ancestors. That's why we got to even sometimes. This is process of healing your ancestors. Maybe they can heal you. You can heal them. This is their stuckness. They're not just coming shouting to us. The ancestors used to speak. Your ancestors spoke to the ancestors before, and they used to have that thing. That's why you have the thing every year that we say the 31st of October in Mexico, and then what is it? Coco, the movie, you have those 2 days, the 31st and 1st. When you go do your homework, I guarantee, go look at it now. Go look at Wikipedia, and they openly tell you that no, those 2 days were wrong. That was part of the colonization. It was really the summer solstice all the way to November, I think, 8th. And it was not when you gave food to your ancestors, is when they brought you what you need, because they don't need physical food. They're not on a physical plane. So they reverse engineered it. But now it's openly, we don't care if we tell you. You're so programmed, you don't give a shit about it. I mean, that's what it is. But if you look it up now, even on Wikipedia, it will tell you it was from the summer solstice of there. So this is what I'm talking about. Having these, and that's why a lot of the self worth is because it's been the foundation of your roots, root chakra. I look at the movie Roots, and I'm saying, that was out in the 70s, and people were seeing this movie Roots, and then they're thinking, and they branded it Roots, saying this was your roots. And it's not your roots. Your roots didn't begin there. That's just the process of the programming of them who have power telling you that, programming you to believe that's what it is. It's not your roots. A lot of it's lies. I'm just going to straight up tell you, because this program, I know it. I see it clearly. That's why we're in 2020 vision, you have an awakening, because 2020, we see clearly. If you don't see clearly, you're going to really be blind, and blind will lead the blind, and they will fall into a ditch, a D-I, ditch. Find there's your etymology. But anyways, the solar plexus of the sun. That's why the breathing aspect, learning how to breathe from that solar plexus, from that stomach, from that center, from that gut, which is really connected to God. That's where the word God is Germanic. It's not that ancient. I'm just going to be honest. I'm going to burst your bubble. It's not. It actually means German king. It's just going to be honest with you. It's not an ancient language. It's not ancient. Is going back about 50, going back thousands and thousands. It's not that old. It's Germanic. But when you understand that God is good, add the other zero or add the other O, good, in gut, which is your gut. That solar plexus, the soul, our sun, is there, and through the breathing of the oxygen and that air through that sun lifts, and the bottom and the top come together, because it's toward from the heart going up. That's the Jesus story where he said, "Pluck your eye out, and your body's full of light." Got to do some. You got to do some. Got to do some work on it to get it there, and we can't. Because you're the mechanic it was given to. It wasn't given to no government. It wasn't given to no religious sect. It wasn't given to given, none. It is yours and yours alone, and use it. It is your gift. I can't, no pastor, prophet, monk can give it to you. We can mentor. There's nothing wrong with having mentors and teachers because it's a good way. Initiation's good. A lot of us had to initiate through ourselves. But when I wish, but this generation coming up under at now, you can have mentors, people who bring stuff, man. I know people here that's got some that have joined us. We don't have a big group, and we don't have that, but I know a couple people here are really good, and their mindset is for this. Great mentors. They can be great mentors. So it's a self-worth, confidence. You got to have confidence, man. You got to know, and confidence coming with knowing who you are, having the root connected, having the sacral flowing, and knowing how to breathe. That's really what helps that chakra, is breathing in, because the breath is your creation. The more you breathe, you start harmonizing even with your money income, because it has to, because that's the most thing that's connected to you. When people, I'm going to be honest, if you think you're alone and you're lonely and alone, you don't understand that. Be quiet, listen. You're next to breath, the very spirit and aspect of life. Breathe in, breathe out. It goes harmony with energy, which is currency, which even is your money flow. And if that money flow ain't that, it's just, you just got to harmonize yourself. Self-worth drive, and that's why it's yellow. And we're going to finish with the heart. The heart represents love. It governs love and harmony, man. It's that governor from 1 to 3, that work, and then you get that heart, and it starts governing the love, right? And it's definitely connected to. I don't know why I have this yellow, because it's not yellow, because the other one's yellow. Also, I'm wrong on this one. So if you know, you know. I'm not going to look it up right now, but it's that heart chakra. It's connected to the adrenal glands. The adrenal glands are all your glands, all the glands that are important, your fluids. That's the Christ. That's a harmony. Your pineal gland and your pituitary gland, feminine and masculine, are 2 glands that produce adrenal liquid, milky and a brown honey shaped. I mean, substance. That's why it says you'll give you a land that is what? Flowing with milk and honey. It's giving you. It's about giving you and mastering yourself and taking you, because you're the greatest gift. You're the house. This is not you, my house. This is where my outward stuff lives. But your house is you. That's why I even made that video. When you got the go home orders, did you really go home, or did you just go to your outward house? I'll even share something with you a little deeper. We talk about going within. It's all within you. But even your outside body's surrounded by an aura. So even your outside is within. Ooh, think about that. Because your aura is outside your outside body, all itself. So that heart chakra will govern the love, and harmonious. And harmony goes with melody, connection. But also look in that word. Divide that word. What do you got? You got harm. If you become divided in the heart, you have harm. And notice there's also an aspect of this word. Money, or money. It's an old song. It's also a connection to your currency. When it's divided, these things don't flow. You're harmed. Now, what do they always say? The broken heart? The broken heart can be fixed, because I'm going to tell you what. People will say they're broken. Nobody's broken. You're out of alignment. Hear me again. You're not broken. You just may be out of alignment. And out of alignment can be adjusted. Spiritual chiropractoring on yourself, on your inner man. On your inner man. Doing some chiropractic work on your inner man. Putting yourself in a line. This is what I'm saying, the other side of it. You got the other side of war. It's harmony. flowing together. Harmonies, music, singing a vibration and tone. That's why you need a day of atonement. You need a day of, it's really a day of attunement. You got to be tuned in. Tunement, and those of you who are musicians and singers, and especially musicians, know that you got to tune your instruments. So they, what? So the vibration is right, because those who hear it and understand that will hear that it's off. This is also your body. Your body's playing a vibrational tune in the universe that you're connected to. You know what it is? And those who came in doctrine and said that's stupid. No, it isn't. Go get me electrical measurement for electricity, and you know it's called the ohm meter. It's on target. They know it. Religious people necessarily don't. It's not necessary they don't. Extending past your belief systems, because this is the age of knowing. I'm a knower, just not operating in a belief system that may not have any currency when it's time to pay you off. Hear what I'm saying? A belief system that when it's time to pay you off does not have the current. That's why got people here, got people everywhere. There's things like looking at, I want entrepreneurship. They understand that through the system of work, of a job, which is, go look up what Job means, because there's no difference between Job and job. It just really isn't. It's a game. It's a kick down, drug out person that ain't got no hope, because these people understand I'm in entrepreneurship. Why? Because if I do entrepreneurship, I just don't have an income like a job gives me, because they always say, what's your monthly income for your loans? What's your income? But never mention your outcome. Imbalance. You need an income and an outcome. That's the flow of, it's breath. Breath is everything. So you can't be lonely when you understand this. When you start connecting with your breath, even this kind of will harmonize, and I'll close with this. Get some earplugs and start just using these earplugs and just plug in your ears. Why? Get used to your own frequency, your own harmony. And start getting accustomed to hearing your harmony within your ears and your buzz. Because that's what it is. You'll hear the buzz within you, your harmony, your own frequency. And then notice that when you play certain things and start meditating, that the frequencies will even change. I'm even at times doing something like you hear, oh, that frequency changed. I heard that change. This isn't just for me, it's for everybody. So this is D-Boy and West Coast Uncensored. I'm going to put this on there, but here in a short while, I guess they're going to have another retreat. They're in, the two they're putting it on are actually in Vietnam. So they're like 15, 16 hours ahead of us. So last night's, I was not able to make last night's because I was on one at 6 o'clock from Costa Rica, and it didn't end until, God, I was 8:30. But that's the deep, meaning the deep for me going on that one, because that's actually Seven Bomar. I go to the university, and man, it's stuff that I love, because it's like, grab it, let me put my head around it, because I feel the vibration of it, and it pushes me. It drives my pushing to the next level, and I love that. It's a lot to do with my change, man. The university is awesome. But I was on that, and that was a couple hours. And then somebody from university I connected with texted me and wanted to meet me and call me, because they just started there, and they seen that I was an LA person. And then, man, we had a connection, and it was like, wow, we talked 5.5, 6 hours. And I was like, it's 2 o'clock in the morning. And it feels like we've been on for 30 minutes. This is how connections, we start exceeding time. This is D-Boy from West Coast Uncensored. You have a great day. I may drop to one tonight. I was thinking about it, but then I may have to get on there if I drop it. But I may. I'll feel led in how I do that. You guys have a great day.